Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started with today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss another episode here on the Appalachian Outlaws channel. But today, we have the small block high output four-wheel drive trucks from the East Coast Nationals in Fishersville, Virginia. Gonna be a great show. Here we go. And what a show we have here today, guys. This is the small block, high output four-wheel drive class. We have the top running trucks out of Pennsylvania and Virginia here today to compete. Gonna be a great show, and we're kicking things off with the current points leader in the class and the 2022 points champion. This is Jason Garris. He drives a 1970 Chevy. Been pulling this truck in the small block class for over 15 years now, I would say. Tons of pulling experience. The chain is tight. Let's see if he's gonna keep the mark the bead here or turn it down and come back at the end. So I think during this run he was planning on turning down that distance, but the sled operator saw something and he wanted to change things up a bit. So they are going to reset the sled and get Jason off the track here to bring up our first official puller of the class. Good looking Chevy right there, and he'll be back last. That's going to bring up our next puller here, an outsider, Blake Smith, making his Appalachian Outlaws debut here in the small block HO class. A good looking late 90s Chevy there, closing up his door, going to make sure the chain's tight. Let's see what he can do. He calls this truck Black Betty, making the first official pass of the evening in the small block class. And not a bad run for him there. We'll take a look at the replay. 287.02. Gonna set the mark the beat and the first official distance during the class is underway here. But man, it seems like that track has a lot of bite in it, got in it hard, but still puttering out a power there at the end. So it's gonna be interesting to see what his competitors do as we get into the later portion of this class and they keep on building a road down through here. Is the track gonna get better? Are they gonna have to put all the power they got into it? Or is it going to get a little bit worse here? Those are one of the things you have to pay attention to as a driver. But that's going to bring up Brett Kolonovich, a top running truck in the small block HO class representing Pennsylvania. Here he goes. And that's going to be good enough to take over the number one spot, 308.23. And as we just talked, it seemed like he got into it really hard, was turning a ton of RPM, which gave him a little bit more track speed than his competitor there. Ran a very similar line down the right portion of the track and spun out hard to take over the lead here. And next up's going to be Jim Basinger, a good-looking square-body Chevy he calls High Noon. And this is a truck that has multiple wins on the Appalachian Outlaws Pulling Circuit so far, looking for his first 2023 victory. But if there's anybody that can do it here today, it's going to be this guy. He has a ton of pulling experience. This is about his fourth year in the small block high output division. So here he is. He's going to be pulling off the line. Let's see if he can beat the leading distance. And he puts it out there. Let's get a distance on him. 3:17.82. Gonna be the mark to beat now, and a good run for that high noon Chevy. You see he got a little bit squirrely towards the middle portion of the track there. It veered him towards the left side of the track, and he just held that line and took it out there. Gonna set the new mark to beat, and that's gonna be a tough one to get past for Jim Basinger, the high noon square body Chevy there. Where there's a predicament here in the class with the drivers. These small block trucks don't have as much horsepower as like the big block class would have per se. So they're watching this track and they're watching each truck go further and further. So they're debating on, do I run a taller gear? Do I run a fast gear, come off hard, try to get the wheel speed and get down through there? Or do I play it a little bit conservative, run a lower gear, turn more RPM, and hopefully spin out harder at the end? So a guy like Timmy Simmons here, he is a seasoned puller in the class, a top running small block truck. He calls it the Heart Attack. Lots of success on the Appalachian Outlaws circuit, and this is his first time with us here during 2023. So let's see if he can take over the lead. Timmy Simmons, the Heart Attack. And a good run there for him, 322.05, and you want to talk about RPMs. He was turning a ton of them down through there, spinning out hard at the end and having a good run down through there. Just follow that road the rest of the trucks have been building so far tonight, getting it up there at 322.05. So that's going to bring up another truck here out of Virginia. Dylan Wood already has a win on the Appalachian Outlaws Pulling Circuit just a year ago. A good-looking truck, and this is one of these trucks that everybody's showing up here today to try to get in front of, but not going to come easy. Usually a top-running truck in the class. So here he is. The light is green on the sled. Let's see what he can do here. And there he is. There's going to be your new leader. 324.36. Didn't have the takeoff I think he wanted to have in that truck. But man, the truck came to life, ran a ton of RPMs, and just went down the track so smooth. Just edging out the Heart Attack truck of Timmy Simmons. Going to be your new leader there. So that's going to bring up another Virginia truck. This is Ricky Thompson. He's made a great reputation for himself down in the Mountain Boys Puller Circuit, Dragon Motorsports as well, all the top running organizations in Virginia. First time hooking to the sled with the Appalachian Outlaws. Good looking square body Chevy. Let's see what he can do here. See if he can get it out past that 320 foot mark. Get in there with the top trucks. Here he goes. And a respectable run put down for him. Final distance going to be 285.47. Got Yogi Bear there in the passenger seat, and they're just cruising down the track. But not quite enough to get up in there with the top trucks. Next up's going to bring out longtime puller and a current top 5 leader in the point standings, Jim Matthews, with the Plum Crazy truck. Now the Matthews team's been battling a ton of issues with this truck so far for the 2023 season. Let's see if they have it figured out. Man, and it seems like they're still battling some gremlins with that thing. 296.52 going to be the final distance for him. He got down there really good, even with the truck not running quite well, and I think that shows a little bit of promise that once they get the things figured out under the hood, this thing is going to run. 296.52. And next up is going to bring up the Coal Crusher, Josh Sarver. Another top running truck here in the small block high output division. He has a ton of new parts under the hood for 2023. He's been spending each pull trying to get it all figured out and get this combination working as efficiently as possible. So let's see if tonight's the night for him. See if he can get out there against the leader. Here he goes. And when you want to talk about giving it all she had, that's a perfect example of it. 313.87, gonna get him out there, but not quite enough to creep into the top 3 right now. But a good run. He was turning a ton of RPM, and that truck sucked down hard and just kept on going at the end. A good run for the Coal Crusher. And next up is going to be Curtis Booth, another puller making his Appalachian Outlaws pulling debut. Here he goes. Oh, and not what you want to see there. It looks like he went right off of the sled there, broke his hitch. Kill switch got pulled, and he's getting towed off the track. And that's going to bring up the first puller coming back last. This is Jason Garris. Let's see if he can win it all. Oh man, and he took it out there. Not a puller in sight. 339.64 gonna be the final distance for him. We'll take a look at your replay, but that's gonna be good enough to get it done. The last puller taking the win. So that's going to do it here tonight at the East Coast Nationals for the small block, high output, four-wheel drive trucks. A great showing for everyone here involved tonight. Jason Garris getting another win for the 2023 season record books. Dylan Wood in second place. Timmy Simmons rounding out the top 3. And what a lineup of big block high output trucks we have here tonight. Over 20 trucks competing here in Fishersville today. And kicking things off is going to be Thomas Alphin with the Danger Ranger, a top running truck from Virginia in his home state here for the first time with the Appalachian Outlaws since last year. So let's see if he can set a good mark to beat here. And spinning out hard at the end. A lot of people underestimate this truck here because it has a lot shorter wheelbase than the other trucks in the class. But man, always a top contender. That doesn't seem to matter for him. 330.71 gonna be the mark to beat now. And he's gonna keep that distance as well. Feels pretty good about it. So we'll see if it stands. And next up, that's going to bring Jason Barron onto the track with the Flying Farmer truck, a top running truck from southwestern Pennsylvania. This truck's been all over the place for years and years and years, having a pretty good season so far with the Appalachian Outlaws. Last year, he had a couple breaks throughout the season that kind of stopped them from being a top contender for the points, but this year seems like the truck's locking down a little bit better, doing a little bit better job of driving, and it's showing. And not a bad run for him at all. We'll watch the takeoff here one more time. 321.68. Going to be about 9 feet shy of the danger ranger right there. A good run put down by the Flying Farmer. And next up on the track is going to be Brian Allen. A new truck here on the Appalachian Outlaws Pulling Series Tour. A good-looking 70s style Chevy backing into the sled there. Going to be making his Appalachian Outlaws debut here in the big block high output class. A tough truck, but yet to make his maiden voyage with these Outlaws. Let's see what he can do. And not a bad run for him there. We'll take a look at the replay in just a moment. But, man, he creeped that thing out there, not even a truck length. Gave it all the beans and was just screaming down through there. Going to be good enough for 312.93. And next up is going to be your #1 truck in the points race for 2023 so far. This is Ronnie Unger behind the controls here tonight of the Undertaker truck, a 1985 Chevy square body. After a win at Cookport at the first pool of the season, that really propelled this team to the top of the list here. After not such a good placing at Listy and a top 3 finish at Weaklands, they are right on track to be where they need to be to win this championship. But it's going to be pretty tough with all these trucks right behind them in the points. Let's see if he can lay a good run down. And we'll take a look at your replay here, 324.36, and it just sounded like that truck could never grab a hold of anything going down the track. Gonna show in the distance there, 324.36, but good enough to keep that top 3 spot so far. And not what you want to see here. We had these guys in the pits all revved up, ready to pull earlier in the day. But, man, as soon as they get it hooked to the sled, there was some kind of mechanical issue with the truck, and they weren't able to go down the track. So let's have a virtual round of applause. And we're going to move on to our next puller here. And next up, that's going to bring up Adam Tice with the Untamed Aggression truck. A good-looking Ford there, and man, it runs just as good as it looks. He had a great finish a couple weeks ago at Weaklands, and they said they got this thing figured out, the drivetrain components figured out a little bit more to get that truck hooked up and going down the track. So the chain's getting tightened there, and we're going to see what he can do here. This is Adam Tice. Let's see if he can get the 1976 Ford to the winner's circle here. Distance to beat, 330.71. And that's going to be close, but that's good enough to do it. 332.49 for Adam Tice. Got that truck going smooth down the track, straight like an arrow. And that's going to get him about 2 feet past the leader. There's your new leader, fans. And next up's going to be Dalton Vest from Millboro, Virginia, driving a 1986 Ford. Look at that paint job going across that truck. Good looking truck there, and I'll tell you what, This is a truck you want to look out for. In 2020, at the first two-day Thunder Pool, Dalton actually took the win in the big block high output class, so he was unofficially the first ever winner in an Appalachian Outlaws class. So let's see what he can do here today. And he got it out there. He's right up against the leader. Did he do it, though? Not quite enough. 331.22. Gonna be good enough for second place. But, man, he was wide open on that throttle. Did not waste any time getting into the beans there. And that worked out in his favor this time. 331.22. Gonna be the distance. And next up on the track, going to be Tom Hull from Doe Hill, Virginia, a 1973 Ford he calls the Outlaw. And this is a top-running truck in Virginia. He's won the Outlaw four-wheel drive class many times. Yet to win an Appalachian Outlaws pool that he's been a part of. So let's see if today's the day. 332.49 to mark the beat. Here's the Outlaw. Not a bad run for him. Let's get a distance. 326.66, so going to be many feet shy of the leader. But, man, that truck was just cruising down through there, turning a ton of RPM. Spinning out hard at the end for a distance of 326.66. Not a bad run. And next up is going to be Gary Chambers, and I think it's safe to say this guy probably drove further than anybody to be at this pool here tonight. And after some bad luck last year in Fishersville, he's looking to turn it around and get that #1 spot. Here he is, the 1973 Ford, the Bandit. Oh man, no doubt about it. There's going to be your new leader, but the question right now is just by how much. 354.59 gonna be the new mark to beat, and he was just screaming down the track. But when you have 354 feet of track, man, you get that thing cranking at a high wheel speed and it just locks in and goes eventually, and that's exactly what happened there. Such an impressive run put down by Gary Chambers, but we'll see if his competitors are maybe watching trackside. Maybe they'll try something a little bit different as well to get up there with them. But that is going to be a huge distance to overcome there. And next up is going to be Jerry Mostoller, a 1969 Ford he calls the Mistress. He's had a couple instances of bad luck here in 2023, but let's see if he can turn it around. And here he goes. Oh man, and that didn't sound good at the end at all. Looks like some driveline components are broken after all that, but 334.28 gonna be the final distance for him there. Luckily the truck was about done pulling when that all happened, so got it out there pretty good. And next up, this is Nathan Strong, Dallas I behind the wheel. Just an exhibition hook here tonight because he does have too wide of a tire on the truck. That's a 33-1350 tire, I believe, on that truck. Just a little bit too wide. Not going to fit the tire rule here for the official sanctioned class, but a great run nonetheless. We'll give him a replay here. 282.13 going to be the final distance. A good-looking Chevy there, though. An awesome body style. Don't see that too much anymore. And here's something you don't see much of, a Dodge in the gas class. Only a couple of them out there, and they're all good running trucks. Here's one of them. This is Daryl Vest behind the wheel of this truck. A 1977 Dodge from Millboro, Virginia. Let's see if he can take over the #1 spot. Oh man, and giving it all she had and sucking out of power at the end. 328.73, gonna get him right up there in the pack with the rest of the trucks. But man, screaming RPMs down the track and sucking out of power. I'd say he gave it all she had there in a great run. And here's your winner from Weekland's Mechanic Shop. This is Carl Barnhart with the Midlife Crisis Ford, a top running truck here. And he had a lot of issues last year with this truck trying to get things figured out. But man, does he have it figured out now. Been a top truck in every single pull he's been at besides one so far this year. So a great season. Let's see if he can take the lead. And he gets it up there. We're waiting for a distance and a replay here, but man, what a run put down by Midlife Crisis. 338.28. Gonna be good enough for the #2 spot so far in the class. So he's got to be happy about that, especially with the level of competition here tonight. To be able to get out there in the top 5, even something to be proud of. And a picture-perfect run. And here's a top running truck as well. Blue past you. Tracy Troy behind the wheel of this truck. A 1993 Chevy from Rector, Pennsylvania. This is probably one of the most consistent trucks in the class. She was in the top 5 last year in points, and she's still sitting there in 2023. So she's just got to go A to B and lay down a good run, and she's going to keep her standing there. Let's see what she can do here. And spinning out hard at the end. She's going to be about 20 feet behind the leader, but she did what she had to do there. 329.48. So when you're talking about the end game in the grand scheme of things, the points go by the total combined distance of the entire season. So to be able to put up a good run like that, when you look at the whole perspective of things, she's right up where she needs to be. So not a bad run for her, and that is going to put her in the top 5 so far in the class, I believe. So very good job by Tracy Troy there with the blue past you truck. That's going to bring up another good running truck. The Expensive Penny, driven by Taylor Perry from Eagle Rock, Virginia. A 1976 Chevy. Now Taylor was a competitor in the first year of the Appalachian Outlaws. A top 10 finisher in 2021. Last year he took a year off, and in 2023 he didn't sign up for points as well. But he's here in Virginia here today, about to make a statement here. Let's see what he can do.
Alrighty, Mr. Perry, all the way to the 300. 300.42. 300.42.
And not a bad run for him, 300.42, so gonna be about 50 feet away from the leader. But when you compare the trucks and see what Taylor's got under the hood, man, does that truck run good. An awesome run put down by the Expensive Penny. And next up, this is probably the fan favorite truck out of Virginia here. This is the Ridge Runner Reborn. Travis K. and a lot of pullers last year had their hands in this truck, donating parts and time to surprise Travis with his dad's old pulling truck. And this is it right here on the track. He won the points with it last year. He was the 2022 Mountain Boys Pullers Champion. So a tough running machine here. Here he goes off the line. Oh man, and he got it up there. 3:30.19. An impressive run put down by the Ridge Runner, and man, he's got to be happy with that. Took out a lot of top running trucks here today, but still a little bit shy of the leader. But a great run put down nonetheless. And here she is. This is Driving Miss Daisy, Bobby Joe Duke, a top running truck out of southwestern Pennsylvania. Already multiple wins so far in 2023 and a fan favorite out here on the track. So she's backing into the sled, trying to get it in there as straight as possible, have a good takeoff and a good launch point for this truck. See her crew out there helping her back in, giving her some last minute pep talks here. As soon as she gets her helmet on, she's going to rip this thing out of the hole. Let's see what she can do. And oh man, she had a great run going for her, 300.05. I'll be interested to hear what all went on in the cab of that truck and why that truck just shut off so instantly. Not what you want to see, but man, we have William Woolridge on the line here tonight. Down and dirty, he calls it. A 2000 Ford, a top running truck from down here in Virginia. And man, he is eyeing up that #1 spot. Let's see if he can do it. Oh man, he has it out there too. 337.05. Gonna get him in that top 5 spot so far here tonight. An impressive run put down for him. And next up, this is Eric Gray, 1983 Chevy. This isn't a regular puller with the Appalachian Outlaws Pulling Series. He has pulled with us in the past, but gonna be interesting to see what he can do here. Here he goes. .321.35 gonna be the distance for him, and a great run put down for Eric Gray. 1983 Chevy just screaming down the track. And coming out on the track, this is the Judgment Day truck. Matt Mosier behind the controls here. This is a team-powered truck as well. We have a couple trucks in this class where you see the driver alternate from time to time, and this is one of them. He drives this truck alongside Rob Farrell, currently #3 in the points. Here he goes. Oh my goodness, he's right there. Not going to be quite enough here tonight, but he's up there in the pack pretty good. 346.6, going to be good enough for the #2 spot. And the final puller in the class here tonight, this is William Campbell with the Scalded Dog truck. This is actually the brains behind this pool we're at here today in Fishersville, Virginia. He did a ton of work to make this pool happen, to get all of us down here. So thank you very much, William. We appreciate it. And here he goes off the line. Let's see if he can win his own pool. And spinning out hard at the end, not going to be quite enough for first, but I bet he's in that top 5 easily. 337.71, and these last couple trucks are just coming off the line so aggressively. The clutch is out, the throttle is 100% within a truck length or two, and they're getting out there pretty good and a solid run. But here's your winner, folks. This is Gary Chambers with the Bandit. Let's watch the winning run one more time. And here's your rundown, folks. The results of this pool are on your screen. Gary Chambers taking the win here tonight in a solid run for a lot of these trucks, just piling in there and making this super competitive. And this is an exciting lineup of trucks we have here for you tonight. We have a mixture of the Appalachian Outlaws hot rod diesel trucks, and then we have the Mountain Boys hot street diesel trucks jumping in the mix here tonight to see what they got for the Pennsylvania trucks. So gonna be a great showing here tonight. First up on the line, we have John Talley, a 2003 Chevy. He's gonna be our test puller. And to get things started, not a bad run there, but the sled is going to get reset. I believe the sled operator thinks he can get a little bit more out of these trucks here, and he's going to turn down that sled anyways. Didn't like what he saw, wanted to come back and give it another run at the end of the class. So Nathan Parker going to be the first puller here on the track. He's going to be setting the mark to beat now in a 2009 Ford, getting it spooled up. Let's see what he can do here. Spinning out hard at the end of the track. You saw smoke coming off the tires of that thing. 313.45 gonna be the mark to beat now. An impressive run put down by that power stroke there. Something you don't see a whole lot of in this division. You see a lot of Chevys, a lot of Dodges overrun this class. So the power stroke's in the lead now. 313.45. But if anybody's going to take over the lead, it's going to be this guy right here. When you talk about the story of this class in 2023, this is one of the individuals that you're going to have to mention. This is Garrett Brooks, the current points leader in the 2023 point series. And man, has he had a season so far. He tied with Brandon Kipple at Listy. He went to Fishersville a few weeks later, got the win over his competition at that one. So the current points leader having a great year so far. Lots of wins outside of the Appalachian Outlaws as well. So let's see if he can do it here down in Virginia. Spooling it up. Getting ready to take off. Let's see if he can do it. And he's going to edge his competition out just about 9 feet, separating them. 322.81. Going to be the new mark to beat there. Turning a ton of RPM down the track, spinning out hard. But it looked like it just shut off there at the end all of a sudden. So definitely going to affect his distance a little bit, but he got it out there pretty good. Might be enough to hold on to the lead here. And next up, we have another Cummins-powered machine on the line. It's going to be Jeremy Cook. 2005 Dodge representing his home state of Virginia here tonight. And the distance to beat is now set at 322.81. Let's see if he can get the lead. Oh man, it's going to be close. Let's see if he did it here. We're waiting on a distance. Gonna be just enough to get by the current points leader. 326.33 gonna be the new mark to beat. A good run going down the track, and he kept the power going at the end. Just edged him out. 4 feet separating first and second now. And next up is going to be Luke Ruxroad from Verona, Virginia. 2002 Dodge, another top running truck from down in this part of Virginia. Multiple wins already in 2023. Part of the Full Moon Madness Performance Camp. Let's see if he can take the lead.
He got it fired up that time. 262.90. 262.90.
Next up on the line, going to be a little bit different of a combination on this truck. Now, as long as these guys stick with a DOT-approved tire, it can't be taller than 35 inches, it can't be wider than 12.5 inches. They can run any tire they want. So he's actually going to be running the Nitto Mud Grapplers on the front of this truck. A little bit more aggressive tread. Maybe it'll dig a little bit harder at the end, give him a little bit of an edge on his competitors. Let's see if it makes the difference.
Coming on is a 311.10. 311.10.
Man, you can tell these trucks are looking good when you see the smoke coming off the tires at the end of the track. 311.1, going to be about 15 feet shy of the lead, but a great run put down by Bad Reputation there. A good-looking Chevy. And these Virginia trucks are giving the PA trucks a run for their money so far. They're a little bit outgunned on horsepower, some of them. They're a little bit outgunned on the driveline components and suspension parts they have under these machines. But doing a great job so far, and that's going to bring up our next puller, Shane Jordan. A good-looking Dodge there, a 2001 Dodge from Mount Crawford, Virginia. Let's see what he can do here. We talk about different tires on these trucks. He's running a different setup as well.
Coming on with it.
And spin it out hard at the end. And I'll tell you what, that truck is far from maxing out the rules in this class. That's a street truck right there going 268.78, so not a bad run for him. Here's another street level truck coming up on the line. This is Travis Booth, a 2004 Ford, more of a street level truck here. So let's see what he can do. And not a bad run when you consider what he's up against. 274.04 is a respectable distance to lay down there. A good run for Travis. And next up, this is Dakota Thompson. This is his first run of the 2023 season, a new combination. Let's see how he does. Oh man, and the flagman had to run backwards to get to him and flag him down. Gonna be a good distance to put up. You can see he has the Nitto Mud Grapplers on the front of that truck as well. A good run for Dakota Thompson, and this was his first run of the 2023 season, as we just mentioned. So to come out here, put down a solid distance, a 316.36, he's got to be happy with it, considering he's only a few feet away from the Appalachian Outlaws points leader. So not a bad run to kick off his 2023 campaign here with the old school cool Dodge here. A good run put down by him. And next up is going to bring up Jeff Weimer, the Sander Concrete sponsored Bad for Business Dodge. Let's see what he can do. Oh man, and he was flying down through there, gonna take out the competition there. That for sure is gonna be your new leader. 335.83 gonna be the distance for him. And I'll tell you what, he got in it quick and was turning a ton of RPMs down the track. You see that black smoke just roaring out of that pipe. 3:35.83 gonna be the distance for him, and a monster pass put down. But here's another experienced puller on the line. This is Josh Graham, part of the Poor Boys Toys Performance Camp. A good-looking Chevy there. His dad drives a square-body Chevy in the big block high output class, so lots of experience in this team. Let's see if he can take the lead. Uh-oh, and something not quite right under the hood of that truck. Not what you want to see there, and he's going to end tonight 274.84 for the final distance. And here's another local level puller pulling in this class. This is Chad Wilfong, a 2006 Ford Power Stroke. A good looking truck here, one of the top running trucks in the Mountain Boys Open Diesel class. So let's see what he can do here. The mark to beat was just set at 3:35.83. Here he goes. So not a bad run for him at all. He's going to be stopped. 273.86. And next up we got a Duramax Chevy Power here. Pulling off the line. Let's see what he can do. Oh man, and not what you want to see. What a bummer. He's going to actually go past that 100-foot mark with a distance of 143.32. So that's going to be his outing here tonight. Not what you want to see, but that's going to bring up another Duramax power truck. Sam Ellington. Wagler Performance truck here just cruising down the track. And he was cruising out there. Mud grapplers all around, got in it quick and was just smoking him down. 3:16.6 gonna be the distance for him there. A respectable run put down. That's gonna put him number 2 amongst the Mountain Boys trucks and put him within the top 8 here so far tonight.
3:16.60.
And next up's going to be the Bad Company truck driven by Joe Espy from Dawson, Pennsylvania. A top running truck in the Appalachian Outlaws Hot Rod Diesel class so far here in 2023. And man, this truck had a great run last year down here in Fishersville, Virginia. So he's looking to copy and paste his success here tonight. This is Joe Espy with Bad Company. And I'll tell you what, he's right there. He's got to be within reach of that leader. 3:28.03, just going to be a handful of feet short. But not a bad run put down. A great running truck here. You think he has a huge disadvantage amongst basically all these trucks with the shorter wheelbase. But he's making a ton of power. He drives the truck great. Gets it out there and makes that flagger just run back on him to get him stopped. So something you love to see. 3:28.03 gonna be the final distance there for him, and a great run and a great way to stay in the points race for 2023 as well. So that's gonna bring up another Appalachian Outlaws competitor. This is the number 2 truck in the points race so far for 2023. This is Brandon Kipple from Dawson, Pennsylvania. 2012 Dodge. Let's see what he can do. Oh man, and not what you want to see. It seemed like the takeoff could have been a lot better. That truck just did not want to light up and go 100%. Gonna knock him down to 3:24.73, but still gonna get him in the mix there. So not a horrible performance out of him tonight, but definitely not what he wanted to see for sure. But that's going to keep them in the mix and keep them going strong here in 2023. That's also going to get them in the top 5 here tonight, so can't complain at all. This is Tommy Doyle here. Another flatbed 96 Dodge here. Gonna get stopped at 218.93. And we're gonna bring up the first puller in the class. He's coming back around. He turned his first distance back. Wants to try it again here. So this is John Talley. 2003 Chevrolet. Gonna be your final puller here tonight in the Hot Rod Diesel 4-wheel drive division. So that's going to round out the class here tonight, 246.87, going to be the final distance for him. And we're going to take a look at your winning run here. This is Jeff Weimer taking the win home to Somerset, Pennsylvania. And here's your final rundown for the Hot Rod Diesel 4-wheel drive division here in Fishersville, Virginia. Jeff Weimer going away with the win. A great performance put down by him, but man, was it a close night of pulling. And that's going to round out tonight's episode of the Appalachian Outlaws Pulling Series. Be sure to hit that subscribe button before you leave here tonight, guys. You don't know how much that means to us. We're going to be uploading a video of truck and tractor pulling every Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.